Hey, welcome back to Zombie Tactics. You know, I do a lot of firearms training and work with a lot of products and a lot of different people on some things. Not all of it shows up on the channel here for various reasons that are technical or otherwise. When you have a YouTube channel and you've got a certain number of subscribers, it's, you know, people are always coming up to you and wanting you to review things, or they want you to take a course and give them a review or something like that. I definitely don't do a pay-to-play kind of thing. But those things do come along. People are sometimes surprised to find out that they can't just hand me a piece of equipment and say, here, I'm going to give you a free widget, and what I expect in return is a positive, glowing review on your channel. It just doesn't work that way. I'm really upfront with people about the fact that if you're going to give me something to review, one of a few things is going to happen. It's either going to get a good review, or it's going to get a bad review, or it's going to get no review at all. In most cases, I would rather not review a product on camera and do a video on it if I can't get behind it. And the reason for that is because life is short. I like to think of myself as a positive person, and if I can't get behind something, if I can't give something a positive review, I'd rather say nothing at all. I want to spend what little time I have in my life promoting positive things and good things, rather than spend my time griping about things that are bad. I think that's a better use of whatever talents God's given me and whatever energy I have left available in this life. Having said that, Jeff Evans of NorthWest Tactical Products walked up to me at a handgun training that I was at and said, hey, I make these holsters. Can I send you one, and maybe you take a look at it and you do a video on it or something? And I explained pretty much that same thing to Jeff. Hey, Jeff, I see one of your holsters there. It looks pretty good. If you send me one, here's how it works. You know, I'm either going to give you a good review, or I'm going to give you a bad review, or no review at all. And that's the way that it works. You can't just give me something for free and expect, you know, a promotional video on YouTube or anything like that. I don't really consider myself to be doing promotional reviews when I do these kinds of reviews. So he sent me this holster for a Glock 19, and needless to say, I like it because it's showing up on camera here, and I haven't said anything bad about it yet. You know, a lot of people make Kydex holsters, so you kind of get to the point where you go, well, where is there any real difference? I can tell you there are differences, because as I kind of alluded to, people will give me products from time to time and say, here, review this. And you notice I haven't done a lot of reviews for holsters. That's because I'm really not too thrilled with a lot of things that come my way, for reasons that I'll get into when talking about the good points about this holster from NorthWest Tactical Products. Now, this is a holster for a Glock 19. One of the nice things about NorthWest Tactical Products is that they do make a model of this holster for a lot of different guns. Many companies that make Kydex holsters, they do one or two holsters. They do a Glock and they do a 1911, and that's it, because that's their whole market. Or maybe they'll do a couple of others. When you go to their website, you'll see the link in the video notes. You'll notice that there's a long list of holsters here. And Jeff's given me the impression that pretty much they can make whatever you want. They just may take a little longer on something that's not already on the list. Some things that are really good about this. This is a basic pancake-style Kydex holster with no active retention. So it's only passive retention. It's only whatever grab there is on the holster when it goes into the holster. When I first got the holster out of the box, I took a look at it and I said, you know, this thing is a little ugly. And I hope if Jeff is watching this, he doesn't take that as an insult, because the thing that makes it ugly actually ends up being kind of a quality point. I'll tell you what I mean. If you look kind of close on this, you can notice that there are little bumps and divots around places like where the slide release lever is on a Glock, or where the magazine ejection port is on a Glock. And if you turn it around, those same things are on the back. It's really bumpy. It's not really sleek, smooth lines. A lot of people will go to great care making these Kydex holsters so that there's just a sleek line here and a sleek line there. This seems to really be molded into the gun. The other thing that they've done that I think is kind of neat, if you check the front of this, you'll notice that it's molded more into the trigger well here than it is on the back. The trigger well is not molded in here, and that gives a smoother surface up against the body. Obviously, this is going to go on my belt, and you'll see that in a minute. Unlike a lot of holsters, and this is what I'm talking about, this ugly part kind of having something to do with the way the thing functions, there is not a decided point of click for this holster. With a lot of Kydex holsters, because they've molded in a very aggressive point around the trigger guard and into the trigger group area on both sides, there is actually a point that you feel a a kind of a click or a thunk or something like that when getting the gun out of the holster. Not so with this. It's tough, and then it comes out. And it comes out easily enough, but not too easily. And that's another thing that a lot of Kydex holster makers don't seem to do. Either that thing just can't come out of there, and you're half ripping, your belt off of yourself or ripping your pants off of yourself in order to get the gun out, or it's too easy and it'll fall out just with a little bit of jumping around. Well, I can show you on camera here that I could put a fair amount of force on this, and it's not coming out. So I feel comfortable with, if I was falling on the ground, rolling around, or working around doing things, this gun's not coming out unless I positively pull it out. But at the same time, there's not so much force required that like you've got to be, Hercules unchained in order to get your gun going or something like that. So what turns out at first to look like, oh, this thing's kind of ugly looking because of all the bumpiness, I think that's part of the reason why that is the case. There are more points along the surface of the gun where the holster is actually making good contact with the gun, and not so much relying on just a couple of places where they're really indenting that and there's a decided click. So that's a real good thing. Some things I'd say also about this holster, among Kydex holsters that I've seen, a lot of people do not do what I consider good due diligence to the purpose of a holster like this. And this is what I mean. It's really easy to get a couple of pieces of Kydex and sandwich them together in an oven and throw your gun in there, or a blue gun or something like that. Get it to the right temperature and kind of, make a halfway good holster. What is not easy is to make this suited to the purpose. Now, I already talked about how easy it is to get the gun out versus how much retention there is. That's a really big deal. But also, there has to be attention shown to the hardware that's used itself. Now, in this case, the hardware is good hardware. Now, what's the difference between good hardware and bad hardware? Well, you can buy these, I think they're called Chicago screws. Somebody correct me on that. And you can get these grommets and rivets and things from cheap sources, where what you'll find is two things. They either don't fit together extremely well, or they don't hold well, or because they are metal, they're kind of abrasive or cheap, and sometimes they've even got little points where like there's a little catch, or there's a little point, a little nick or something in the metal, and it catches on your clothing, and all kinds of bad things happen like that. So everything about this, the quality of the hardware seems really good in that sense. And they've also put a lot of attention to making sure that it all fits together right. I've seen holsters before where when you look at one grommet on one side, it's fastened firmly where it ought to be, and you take a look at the grommet on the other side, and it's apart. They haven't really cinched it down well enough or whatever. So a lot of attention to detail went into this holster. Another thing that I find on a lot of Kydex holsters is that, they cut out the form of the holster, they sandwich it around the gun, they put it together, but then they don't go back and check the edges of the holster itself to make sure that there's nothing that's sharp or cutting or whatever. Now, the lines on this, when you look at it, it doesn't seem like it's been beveled or filed down or whatever. So whatever they're doing, it's working. But there are no sharp edges on this. Everything on this is smooth. There's nothing that's going to cut into you or snag on a piece of clothing when you're trying to draw or put the gun back into the holster or anything like that. So good stuff all the way around in terms of all the quality points that I would look for in a Kydex holster like this. I'm going to put the gun on my belt, and then I'm going to show you a couple things that I was talking about. Okay, so I'll lean over here a little bit, and you'll see that what I've done is I've placed the gun on my hip in kind of the standard 3 o'clock position, maybe a little bit further than that, and I've gone ahead and I put on a kind of a basic, windbreaker kind of a coat or something like that. This is a really thin material, and I don't have any real any printing issues or anything like that. The holster does seem to ride well. It does stay in place well. The bottom of the holster does ride high enough up on the belt line so that the hem of this coat would definitely provide, I don't know, somewhere between 3, 4, maybe as much as 5 inches of clearance between the bottom of the holster, where the muzzle of the gun is, and the bottom of the hem of the garment here. So not too many problems moving around in an ordinary way that you're going to print on that gun or something like that. That also means that the gun is right where you want it when it comes out. Now you'll notice I'm not having any problem with a standard kind of a draw getting that gun out from this holster. As I said, there's plenty of retention here so that, if I move my fat little self around and I'm jumping around, that gun's not going anywhere. But the gun does come out with just a good decided, tug on it without any, like you feel like some of these holsters, it would be like, you're all dead trying to get the gun out, and you're half ripping your arm out of the socket just to get the gun out of the holster. So again, from a retention standpoint, really dang good holster. From all the quality points that I look for, everything that might snag on a garment or make it something that's going to fall apart or not be suitable to the purpose of an outside the waistband concealment holster, or maybe a holster that you would use just at a gun range when you're at a firearms training class. Everything about this seems to hit all the good points for a good Kydex type holster. So I'd recommend it pretty highly, this Kydex holster from NorthWest Tactical Products. Now they make a number of other things. They don't just make gun holsters. They make magazine carriers for AR and other AR rifles and other types of magazines for various guns, Glocks and others, pretty much all the guns that they make holsters for. They also make custom holsters for knives. So if you've got a knife and you're looking for a good holster for that knife, that's something that they can put together for you as well. All in all, if they didn't do something like send me a benchmark special where they say, all right, let's make this one really good because the guy might be doing a review of it. If this is an example of the kind of quality that they're coming out with, this is a really good value. You check the prices on their website. You check what other people want for a good custom Kydex holster and what their delivery times and shipping are and all that kind of stuff. There's some good deals available from these folks. And everything that I've kind of heard from them, from asking around from some people that have their products, they've all said that it's good stuff. So that's a pretty glowing recommendation, but I don't mind making it. When I see a good product, I want to call it out as a good product and say to people, here you go. There's a lot of choices that you have if you're looking for a Kydex holster, and certainly NorthWest Tactical Products is one place where you can count on good quality and decent prices. That's Zombie Tactics for today, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.